to my computer. Here we go. Hello, everyone. This is the March 2025 jug for website business owners designing websites in Joomla. And this is our March meeting. Just a reminder to everyone, we will not be having an April meeting because April is dedicated to J-Day USA in Washington, D.C. this year. And we are very, very excited to see you all either virtually or in person. Today, our speaker is Tim Davis. He's going to be talking to us about MySQL and maybe some other stuff if he still has time at the end. We will go around the room and just say hello, where you're from, um, what you're doing in Joomla these days. Just give us a quick, what's your favorite project or what's your favorite thing you're learning or what you're doing with the community. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Joe and then go to Julie. Want to say hello, Joe?
Yeah, hello, Joe. I'm here from the International Space Station, high above planet Earth. Actually, I just moved and we're still not settled. We're actually I was kidding everybody earlier, in the Canadian Mediterranean. So I'm right down near Lake Ontario, right on the border of Toronto. I'm in a city called Mississauga now. And what I'm doing these days, Joomla-wise, is believe it or not, getting geared up for J-Day USA. I'm been absent from most of the meetings just simply because of the move, but I am really looking forward to that. And other than that, I'm just sort of doing some client maintenance stuff. I'm still trying to get my office set up.
Nice. All right, Julie and then Tim.
I'm from Johannesburg in South Africa, and I do a little bit of everything. I transcribe, I help a lawyer, I also build Joomla websites here, and then I actually built the website for the lawyer, which I'm really proud of. So.
Very good. Welcome from Africa. That's good. Tim and then Anne.
Hey everybody, Tim Davis here on the left coast of Canada, southern tip of Vancouver Island. And if Joe is in the Mediterranean of Canada, I must be in the Africa of Canada because we have a much warmer climate here than he does. So, um, yeah, just continuing on with a lot of my normal Joomla activities. I did live stream yesterday with developer who has a new extension, which was pretty cool. So you could check that out on my channel. But and I'm presenting today, so I'll just be quiet now.
Wonderful. Anne and then Rhonda.
Hi, I'm Ann Nutter Thomas, and I'm in Syracuse, New York, south of Lake Ontario. I'm probably about 4 miles from Joe, or 4 hours from Joe. Um, I have a couple. I have one new Joomla client, and it sounds like I have potential for a few more, moving them off of WordPress, which I'm excited about. And I'm having a good time with this one because I'm creating pages using the custom fields quite a bit, so this person can just go in, fill it out. There'll be consistency between the way all the pages look, and I actually convinced him to do this instead of posting PDFs.
Oh,
It's a restaurant with menus, and so far so good.
I love that. Rhonda and then Dorothy.
Um, Rhonda Hutchison. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and the weather is starting to get warm here. um, uh, my current Joomla project that I'm really obsessed with right now is I too am moving somebody from WordPress to Joomla, a longtime client, and I just decided I gotta take the plunge. And yeah, so it's been fun figuring out how to do. There's a few things that WordPress does, populating like uh, an author's series of articles and things like that I've had to figure out how to do, and so that's been fun. And so far, I haven't run across anything that there's not a solution for.
I
So
love
that's been great.
I love that part the most. So true. Dorothy and then Paul.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Fershing. I'm in Fairfax, Virginia. And in reacting to a couple of things people have said, I love all of those areas in Canada. We did canoeing up in the Lady Evelyn area, uh, up in the Mediterranean, I guess, and also, off of Vancouver Island and up in that west neck of the woods, not to mention Nova Scotia, PEI, and so on. So, um, love that whole whole country. What can I say? And as far as some of the things I'm currently involved in, rather than getting away from PDFs, I'm working with a local homeowners association that does not have a management company, and so they have had no good repository of their documents over the years, other than passing around boxes of paper and so on. And so trying to put together that behind the scenes, behind their website for the board of directors and so on, to be able to refer to, contracts and organizational documents and minutes and whatnot. So doing that in Joomla too.
Good use of Joomla. Sorry about that, Paul. I did mute you. You kind of have like a an airy background that was overpowering when Dorothy was speaking. But you can go next, and then Laura. Go ahead. I'm going to ask you to unmute. There you go.
Okay. This is Paul Adela. I'm down here in Tennessee, where it's a little bit warmer than all you people talking about snow. I lived in Colorado long enough that I moved back here and I left my snow shovel there on purpose. Anyway, what I've been working on lately is a website for a community center that is a repurposed old black school that closed down in 1969 after segregation here went away. So it's been an interesting project. They don't have any money, so I'm doing it mostly for free. And I've run into some irascible characters that are really stretching my ability to deal with people. But it's essentially done, and I'm just waiting on them to finally decide that they like it. So sometimes you just have to put on your best people skills and move along.
That is a very important skill to learn as well. Laura and then Wesley.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura. So a couple of quick things. One, Dorothy, I don't know if you've tried, but drop files is a beautiful thing. Really great tool. I've been in love with it. In fact, at Rutgers, we are in the process of switching every single site that uses DocMan over to drop files. So I highly recommend it. It's great to use. But I might be getting a new client that they're in Joomla 3.8. So I'm really excited because I love upgrades. It's so much fun. So we're still trying to see what red flags there are, because I need to know a little bit more from them, just because, as you all know, doing the upgrades is fun, but not so fun when you get all these surprises. So that's a new private project that I have them excited about. And Joomla Day USA. So I'm going to give my plug right now because I have a minute. We are going to close all in-person tickets by April 1. So if you're thinking of coming to Washington, you must get your ticket by April 1st. If you don't, you cannot come in person. I cannot manage an event with lunches and dinners and swag and blah, 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 with people just showing up at the door. I'm not going to do it. So we don't have to. So anyway, if you're considering coming, please get your ticket now. For those of you that are coming virtually, you can still, get your ticket and all that. If any of you have any financial difficulties or concerns, you can send me a private message and I could hook you up with a sponsor. We do have really generous sponsors that have tickets available. They're giving it to their clients, but if I knew that so-and-so really, had some financial need, I could set you up with that sponsor, and then you could thank that sponsor for, giving you the opportunity to come. We do have a third day, which is almost sold out. We have an intro to coding class by Adam, and that I think is like maybe 2 virtual tickets available. Those tickets are not unlimited. So it's pretty much, capped because we want it to be an intimate class. So we only want a maximum of 20 people coming virtually to that full day class. And we also have the intro to Joomla class for those of you, or if you have clients that really want to learn Joomla from the start. And if you have any maybe web developers or programmers that work for you, they're really great at PHP, but maybe they don't really know Joomla. I highly recommend they take an intro to Joomla class. I was actually talking to some kids that are doing GSOC, the Google Summer of Code, and I'm like, they're coders, but they don't really know Joomla. And I said, yeah, I really recommend you learn how Joomla works because the user experience is really important if you're going to be a good coder. So anyway, that's going to be a full day class, and that has a couple of seats left, both in person and virtually. And then we're going to have 2 days of sessions. And during day 1 of sessions on Thursday, we're going to have a 2-hour block that's dedicated to bugs and fun and documentation. Those of you that have done documentation before, it was really painful because the system was really painful. That has been changed. And Herman's going to be there in person, walking people through how to do documentation. So if you're like, you want to do the documentation end, you're going to be able to do that. If you want to do the testing end, you can do that. If you want to fix bugs, you can do that. We're going to have, it's like a whole workshop on Thursday. So I highly recommend that, of all else, come to that. We will be offering free tickets for just the workshop itself, for just Pizza Bugs and Fun. I just haven't put that out yet because, to be honest, I want you to come to the whole thing. But we will allow, if someone wants to just come to that, I'm not going to charge them to come to do Joomla community work because I think it's about the community. We're going to have lunches every day, as we always have. We're going to have a dinner for everyone on Thursday evening. So anyone that comes in person, we're going to host a big dinner for everybody. Then Friday, we have a whole slew of classes. Again, the sessions are really unbelievable. And most of these people are coming in person. I have Yannick, I have Nick, I have Tim, I have Joe, I have Robin, like just really, Mark, the names are just unbelievable. So even just to meet everybody, to give them a hug, come on in. And then Saturday, we're going to do a fun day. So we'll probably go to some museums and things like that. I'm not exactly sure what that will entail, but for those of you that want to join us Saturday, you're welcome to. And it's really a beautiful time. I think right now we have about 35 people coming in person. I'm guessing by the end, we'll probably have about 40 in person. So it's going to be an intimate thing. So it's not overwhelming. But we get really tight. It's really fun. So anyway, I can't wait to give everyone a hug. And thank you to Robin and Joe, our team. And thank you for Dorothy, who kind of started us off years ago, who's like, I think we can do this, Laura. So I have to give credit to Dorothy for those calls that we had way back when in 2020, when we're like, I think we could do this, So anyway, I hope I get to see you. And that is it. So thank you.
Oh my God, no. Oh my God, no.
I'm not sure who that is, but they came on. Well, Wesley's next and Magdalene after Wesley.
Good morning, everyone. It's been a while since I've been here. I've been caught up in the blind community. I got elevated to be a chapter president and other things for the city of Tucson. I did just build a website recently for a registration for a reunion event, and that was a lot of websites.
A little silent.
So I got that running. So that's been kind of what I've been up to. And I'm going to post in the group. I'm kind of looking for a better forms extension. The one that I'm using really is it's just not adequate. And that's really about all I have. Other than to say that because I'm in the blind community, they tend to use WordPress. So I've been learning WordPress through the statewide organization, and I'm very obviously disgruntled with how WordPress functions. And I just can't believe that that's their choice. And so I'm trying to figure out ways that I can address that issue internally in the statewide organization and maybe even push it up nationally to get them to change their mind and switch to Joomla. I happen to know the guy who runs a national organization for the technology for the organization that I'm focused on. So anyway, that's my goal right now, is to try to blow it out from the inside and get them to see the way that Joomla is the preferred content management system compared to WordPress. So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Wesley, that's inspirational. I love that. Magdalene and then Yorgos, who is
Yeah, my name is Lena. I'm in Germany, and it must have been one day by YouTube video by Tim Davis that I came here. But I think I have been here in this meeting some months or maybe even a year ago, but then I did not know, I did not find it again. So I know about Joomla for many years, but I have not been very active. I did some websites which really need a relaunch by now. But what I have problems with is the part of selling. So I'm more interested in programming, but the selling part is something not my. Okay, and I've never been to a Joomla day, but just last weekend we had our Joomla camp, which is also once in a year in Essen, and I have been there for several years. It was very interesting again. So I hope that I can make a new start with Joomla, something like that now.
Magdalene, you can put your email in the chat and I can add you to an email list that sends our meeting notice out once a month, if that's easiest.
The brand new in-stock indoor. I think I have had a message, but it's I don't know. Something is confusing me with all this.
Okay. Well, hopefully you get into the right routine to hear about us every month. Also, my speech during J-Day USA does talk about sales and running your own business within the realm of building Joomla websites. So if anyone's interested in that topic. Yorgos said, let's see, he is from Cyprus. He's really busy this month trying to set up an e-shop, doing product uploads and configuring the store as to how I want it to work. And I use the new J2 Commerce component, and so far, so good. What worries me is that I do not have the skills to make the invoice template for the invoices. I'm also looking for a new host in Europe that supports Joomla 5 to host my eShop. Okay, and I think if you went on to our Facebook page for this group, you may be able to ask some questions about your invoice concerns, and there might be some people who might be able to help you. Hopefully, not me, but Mary, are you able to say hello?
Hello. I'm here in Washington State where it's usually raining, and it is raining. I've been very busy with a number of projects, but I'm excited this upcoming week to start an LMS, and I'll be using Guru based on Laura's confirmation that she's using it and it works well. And so I'm looking forward to that.
And whoever iPhone is, they said they are just driving and listening today, which is completely wonderful. My name is, did I miss anyone? I don't think I did. My name is Robin Clapp, and I am from Connecticut. That's in New England. And I run this group with Joe, and occasionally Tim jumped in and helped. So I appreciate you. And originally it was Laura's suggestion, so she talked me into doing it a couple years ago. That's been a really fun experience. I'm a volunteer at J-Day USA and a business owner building websites in Joomla for 19 years, only in Joomla. So I only have Joomla experience, which is wonderful. And my favorite project right now is Community Magazine. I've launched 3 out of 4, and I should get the last one done. So it's been a busy 5 months for me, and using all kinds of core Joomla to get it all done. And it's been very challenging and very wonderful. My favorite part being importing database advertisers, about 250 per website. And Adam has helped me with the original, and I've been able to do it for the other sites. So I can still learn. Learn new tricks. So I'm very excited about that. Today's speaker is Tim Davis, and everyone knows him by his podcast where he works, and you get to watch, and he brings in really great people to speak about really great stuff. But he's also an attendee at JDay USA, where I've been able to hang out with him and have a lot of fun, him and his wife, and he's a comedian, I'm pretty sure, on the side. Not professionally, but I think he is. And I just think he's a really great person. So if you get a chance to go to JDay USA, hang out with Tim and have a few laughs, and it'll be worth the trip. And today, go ahead, take over. I've kind of said what you're going to do, but I don't really know what you're going to do. So let's see what you're going to do.
Okay. I actually have done stand up a couple of times, so
I'm not surprised.
for a couple of fundraisers. But all right, hi, hey everybody, Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too. Hey there, Joomla fans. Yeah, so today we're going to look at something that is an area that is probably one of the where you could damage your Joomla site the worst you could ever damage it. And so for that reason, a lot of people stay out of it. But you can do some pretty cool things in there, and they don't have to always be big things. So we're going to look at the database and a tool, phpMyAdmin. I always remember, what is it, phpMyAdmin? I think that's what, yeah, phpMyAdmin. I always think about my phpAdmin, which is a tool that lets us look right inside the database for your Joomla site. And then you can actually change things and adjust things. And that's where the big breaking comes in. So we're going to start out with some pretty basic stuff. I don't know if we get beyond basic or easy things. We're going to end up just seeing examples of how AI can help you with some of the things that you want to do in the table. So in the database, this example will break down very much in a way of it's not absolute, but if you think of Joomla, think of the files as the body and the database as the brain, particularly the memory. And when we are in the back end of a Joomla site and we are creating an article, the information that we're putting into the article gets stored in fields inside of a particular table inside of the database, and we'll see that. And so of course, when I say that the database is the brain, on the servers, there's PHP, there's SQL server that's running, there's all kinds of stuff that's running. So, but I just like that it helps for me to think about the brain and the body difference, because in the database, there's just a lot of information that's stored. You could, I would almost you could almost say it's memory, but then, memory means something else on the computers. And there are some examples, and we'll see one where things aren't stored in the database. They're actually stored in a file. So I will share my screen now. So this is a cPanel account, a web hosting account is cPanel. It's on my server. And if we go down to the database area, we see this link for phpMyAdmin, and we'll just click on that. Now, I don't think I've run into a web host that doesn't offer phpMyAdmin. Maybe it's not as easy to get into on some hosts, but this is a pretty standard tool for going in and looking into the databases. So you'll see, having gone in here, I have on the left side a whole bunch of databases, because I have multiple Joomla sites that are in this hosting account, and each one has its own database. So if we're going to one of the first things, if you run into this, if you're going to look in the database, you're trying to solve something on the Joomla site you're working on, is you definitely want to be in the right database. Otherwise, you'll be changing things on other people's sites. And I'm chuckling because that's one of the many things that I have done before. That's this is the wrong site I'm changing. So how do we find out which database it is? Well, we have a couple of ways that we can see. So if we go into the back end of this Joomla site here, let me turn off dark mode. And before I go further, this is a site I use on my live streams, and I've been beating it up for a long time. So that's why things aren't updated and download keys missing. And it's also why it looks absolutely horrible. It's just for me slamming things on there. But if you want to know what database your Joomla site's using, you just go to your global configuration area. I guess I logged out, timed out, so we'll go in. And if you go to the server tab, just scroll down and you will see the database username, the database name, and the database table prefix. Okay. And that's information you need to find. Now, interesting thing about the database username is that if you think of the database as maybe a store that you go to, and so the store is the database, and then inside the database there are tables, and so you could picture those as like the rows of shelves in a store, and then on the shelves there you have products, and in the database in tables there's fields, and that's where little bits of information is stored. And if you could imagine you had a membership for that store, but you were only allowed to do certain things in the store and go to certain areas, you would be a user and you would have different permissions. And so that's how it works with databases, SQL databases. You give permissions to users. This particular user that's set up on the server, Joom 423, has permission to do whatever it wants on the database. And so I just mentioned that if you kind of wonder, well, why you bother having a username, is just saying, hey, it's created to let the database know what you're able to do. So you can get this information here, and we see here that the database name is Basic Jew, which is short for Joomla. It's unfortunate when you say it out loud, but that is the name of the database. Now, if you were ever needing to do some work in your site, in the database, and you need to find it, and you couldn't access the back end of your site, this global configuration area is one of the examples of where information is not stored in the database, it's stored in a file. And if you were to go onto a file manager, or if you access by FileZilla through FTP, or you have something in your web host, you can go to the global configuration. You can go to configuration.php in the root of your install and get this information. So if I go to File Manager, and now I need to find the files for this site, which is over here in the subdomain J54, and then we go to configuration.php and go to edit. Here's all the information that when we save global configuration in Joomla, it gets stored here. And then you can kind of go down and you can look and you can say, well, here's the database, which is Joom 423, which we saw. There's the user, and there's actually the password for the database, which is fine for me to show you because this is a junk site, but also you couldn't access this on my server unless I open it up and let you do it remotely. So I'm not worried about that. And I think the password changes whenever I redo the site anyways. But so if you're ever wondering, hey, which database do I want to be working in, you can get the information here. And just for fun, you can change information in here, and the changes will appear inside of your global configuration area. All right, so let me close that. So now that we know the database is the one that ends in 423, we can click on it here, Joom 423, and click on it. Okay. And so we'll be presented a view, and this is the database and all of the tables. Now, in some settings of phpMyAdmin, there's a limit to how many get shown. So you might see a pagination at the top, which is really good to note, because sometimes you think, okay, I want to, and we're going to look at a lot of these tables. If you say I want to change something in the user database, well, we can in the user table, we can filter by the names of the tables up here, and as we'll be doing later, here's users. But if your phpMyAdmin has pagination, you might search for user, but it's on the second page on the second list, and this filter only picks up on the page that it's looking. So if ever you're looking for, well, users, but it's not there, I don't know what's going on. Oh, maybe that's the problem. It's just the interface on phpMyAdmin. So like I said, we can wreck some stuff big time in here. So we have some really cool options that we can protect ourselves with. And one is that we can make a backup of this whole database. And so up here we have some options for different things in working on in the database. Well, we have export. Now I can just export the whole database, and you have different formats, but I would leave it at SQL. And you can basically save a copy of it to your computer. Now, I don't know if you can see this, if that it's asking me where to save it on my computer. I think Zoom won't capture that. But I'm basically saving a file to my computer. Did you see it? Okay, good. And now there it is. It's 46 megabytes, which is awesome, because now if I break something in here, I can just delete the tables and re-upload the database, and it'll be right back to where I was. Now, of course, if you're working on a live site, you want to be very careful, because if it's fairly static, that's fine. But if while you're breaking things, someone places an order on the site and then you put up the old one, their order will disappear. Or if someone signs up, you would lose that. So with that in mind, let's say that we were only working on the user database itself. Well, in this export area, you see here we have quick, but we also have custom, and now you can select a specific table. So if I wanted to go in and do something in the action logs, I could uncheck everything here and just say, hey, I just want to back up the action log. You click that, and then you just do the same thing. And down here, I ignore all these other options. You can export it and like that. And now we'll see now that backup that we just did is only just 13. Oh, it's actually a megabyte. So whereas this one was 46 megabytes. So no, this is only 1300. And then you could always just import that again if you mess things up or break things. And you would do that over here using the import tab, and you just choose the file that you want to put back. Now, I didn't name the files very well, but I could let's go to where I saved that. Here we go. Okay, here, if I want to just restore that table, that single table that I did, I can select the file here, and this is not going to work because when I go down and go import, it's going to say, oh, that table already exists, because inside of what we exported is information to create the table and then to put in the lines. But because that table already exists, it says, oh, I don't know what to do. And so in this case, what we would want to do, you would delete the action logs table, and you could import that again. So this is also nice too, that if you're just doing something, let's say that your Joomla site does not change very often as far as files, but uh, people leave comments that get stored in the database, and people create memberships and a bunch of things. But you might have 2 gigabytes of files that is your Joomla site, but you don't need to back those up all the time. But then sometimes you want to just back up the database. Well, you can do that here in phpMyAdmin. Just export it, and you've got it there in case you ever need to restore it. And there are extensions that help us that will let us do that. For instance, the Kiba backup, you can just back up the database. But we're just kind of looking how to go directly in here. So as I just check over to my notes to make sure, because we're not even doing the fun stuff yet. Let's see. Yeah.
Laura put a
And
comment in the chat if you wanted to read that.
oh, what's that?
Laura put a comment in the chat that
Oh, go ahead, just read it out.
Yeah.
Chat has.
I highly recommend creating a backup of the entire table for field values that has saved me multiple times since there is no versioning in fields yet.
Yeah, so the fields values table, that is a very dangerous, be careful, but make a copy of that because there's no versioning. So if we have had problems with custom fields, not recently, but we have had issues where all of a sudden our people at Rutgers, all of a sudden all their data is gone. And those professors are not happy when all their stuff is gone. So it is helpful to do that.
And you'll is that someone? I can't quite hear.
Nope, I just muted them. It was back.
Oh, okay. And so you see that Laura mentioned the fields. I clicked up at the top here just to see all of the tables, and I searched for fields. And there's actually fields values that she was referring to, groups, categories. I could even just select these here. And then another way, instead of going up to export, I can just have this drop down. I've got a bunch of options that I can do here. And one of them is export. Now, I have found in some setups that by filtering tables and selecting all, you accidentally get the whole database sometimes. But checking them, you should be fine. And you can always see by clicking custom as we scroll down, only the ones that we just checked are there. And you could export it. And just as an example, give it a better name, fields tables. So yeah, backup is super important. And
now, Tim, I think you can change, isn't there an option to create a replace in the insert statements or remove the insert statements?
Oh, yes.
Tables in the custom, because you mentioned before why your thing didn't work, but I think there's options in custom that you can jerry-rig some of
probably. Yeah, that would be down here. So if you don't want to, let's see, display comments. There probably is.
In the right after the inserts, there's something I can't really read what I'm seeing. Include. Is that?
Include common names. No. Function. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's something. I've never looked at it. Instead of inserting, you can. You can update. Yeah. Basically, if the table has records in it, you can't.
Right above, Tim. It says or replace. If you look up towards the top, is that it? Exclude definition. Add create, then underneath it has the different options or replace.
Yeah.
Again, please be very careful with this, but see the or
replace. What's easiest is this. For instance, these are the fields ones that we were just looking at. Watch, we'll just go back to here and we're going to go to, we'll search for fields. I'm going to select these and now I'm going to just drop them. So drop them is to erase them. Empty them is to just take out all the contents of them. But I'm just going to drop them. All right, they're gone. They don't exist. And in fact, who
That is
knows?
so scary. This is like a horror movie.
Yeah, but it's all right. I already have it backed up because watch, I'm going to refresh. Oh, it didn't break the site. Usually when I try to break this, I don't try to break the site, it does. And when now I'm trying to break it, it doesn't. But watch. Yeah, we deleted those, but now I'm going to go to import. I'm going to go choose file. And here's what I just exported. I go open. I'm going to go all the way down and go import. And all greens are good. It's happy. Now we go back here and we go fields and they're back. So yeah, it is scary, but who wants an unscary life, right?
See?
Now one thing I will say is this: if you export your whole database, so up here, so this one is 46 megabytes, and you go back to import it, there are different upload limits by different hosts. Now I have mine set to a whole gigabyte, but I have exported tables on hosts that the database was 200 megabytes and the upload limit was 50. Well, then you're kind of in a stuck to replace the whole thing. So you just kind of watch out for that. But you mostly be doing this on your server too. You kind of get to know. And the good news is that yeah, I mean you could always export different sets of tables. There's even programs that will break up what the backup into multiple things that you can upload. But anyways, we're getting super complicated way sooner. So let's have some fun and look at some different things that we can do here.
We do have one more comment if you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Brian says the reason your last field data was because someone changed the option settings for a field.
Oh, okay.
And Paul said, this reminds me of a juggler tossing flaming torches.
Good. All right. Well, all right. Let's take a look and just see some things that we can do in here. First of all, okay, I talked about restoring, filtering. Okay, yeah, great. So let's take a look at some things here. So we're going to go to here and we'll search for user. And here we have this database, the table of users. And you'll see here there's two records because this site only has 2 users. So if we want to look at what's inside this table, we click on browse and we start to see stuff that's very familiar to us from the back end of our sites. Here's a user named administrator, and the username is J5 Core Cybersalt, and there's their email address, and this is their password, all discombobulated encoded, and block and send email and the register date and the last time that person visited. And when we go here, we go to let's go to users, manage users, and there's the 2 users, and the one we're looking at, we can go inside and there's the information, the email, registration date, last visit date, and all the information that we have here is, well, probably a lot of it is in here. If there's custom fields up here, then they would be in another table. But that's what we're looking at here. So watch what we can do. We can do a couple things here. The administrator, let's change the name here. I'm just going to double click right here. It looks like it disappeared, but it's a box. I'm going to say change the name to administrator. Let's just put an exclamation mark. I hit enter, and now when we go back here and refresh this user, look, there's the exclamation. And the reason I show you that, and it's a lot of the fun things that we'll do here, is just the more comfortable and aware you are with the relationship between what you're entering in fields and where it's stored. If you're ever stuck, you can always you can't get in the back of the site. You can think, oh, what's the field I need to change or go and edit? And so that's just something that we did there. Now, I changed that by just double clicking on the field, but you also have this edit button here, which will open up the record. All right, this is a record in the table, and these are fields. And now you have these big boxes to look at, and you can go in and change. So here's the parameters, like, oh, editor. Well, there is no editor set. It must be the default editor. All right. So let's just see here, default editor. If we go back into here, oh, sorry, if we go back into the membership here and go to basic settings, see the editor, use default. I want to use editor JCE, so I'm going to save that. Now, I can't just refresh this page, so I'm going to go click on this top row here to go back to table 6 users, and that refreshes. Now I'm going to go back in and edit, and when we scroll down to the parameters, you'll see now down here, if I did it right, if that's where they are. Oh yeah, editor JCE. Now, so if I knew what the short code, if I knew what the setting was to, if I knew what the setting was to, I could change the editor setting for this user right in here. Now you might be saying, why do that? Because you can just do it in the user profile. Exactly. But I'm just showing you that sometimes the setting that you might want to change or the thing you might need to adjust is not just clear like in the email field that was above here or the username. It might be something in here. So you just have to be very careful to change it. But you can always change it back in. Now, this is interesting too. If you were to change something in the database while you're working and you lock yourself out of the, you make a mistake, you lock yourself out of your site, that's okay because you're not locking yourself out of the database. So I can put it, or I just change this to something. There is no editor called something. But what I go down here and click go to save it. Now let's see, did I break it? I go refresh. Oh, no, it doesn't know what to do. So it's just set back to default. And in fact, now it still has that wrong setting, something, but Joomla didn't know what to do. So it just set it back. So, and if we want, we can put it back to nothing. So that's just an example of something, of the connection between the two. And you can adjust things that way. Now, I purposely, when I created this user last night, the second user, another Tim, the assigned group, it's only registered. Now, if somebody, I just wanted to show you this because sometimes what you're looking for is in a couple of different places, a couple of different tables. If I want to make this account a super user, I would check that and I would then save it and then it'd be a super user. There is nowhere in the profile of this user where you can set them to be in the super user group because that's a different table. If we filter for user, and this is just from experience and trying to do things. So if at some point you think like this is too much to keep track of, it's all right. You just build up to it. Don't worry about it. But see where it says user groups. There's a field here, but then it says user group map. If we look in here, look at this user ID 785. Group 8. Now, group ID 8. Now, I know that is the super user group. And 790, which is the new user, is only allowed to be in group 2. And that's that's registered. If I change this to 8 in the map, so the user IDs, there's a map of who's allowed to be in what group. And I refresh here. Now it's a super user. And not to get too complicated, but just to show you, when we go back to the database and filter for user, if we go down to this table here, user groups, we see that user group ID 1 is public 2 is registered, 8 is super user. And that's how I knew what to put in there. I hope that's probably going to be as complicated as I get. But I just really want to see that sometimes if you look in a table, not everything you want to do is where you think it would be. And if you're not sure what to do or you get stuck or whatever like that, then you do what I do when I get stuck or when I break things. I ask people to help me figure out what I did or how to do it. So that's the user table. Another fun table is the content table. So if we go to, okay, I clicked up here to see all the tables. Let's filter for content. And you'll see this content table here, 44 rows. Now we have other things here, content front page. If we could look around and see what's happening, but let's just look, we go browse, and here we see here's all of our articles and their IDs. So we go into the back end of the site here, we'll close this, we'll go to content and articles. Now here's the most recent article I made is test, and over here we see it's ID 62. So in the content table, oh, we've got one. It's showing 25 at a time up here in this drop down. I can say, hey, show me all the articles. There's only 60, that's fine. Now it's showing all, but here's the ID. If I click the ID column, it's got the lowest ID at the top. So I click it again. Click it again. There's ID 62, and look, test. That's, just get rid of it. Let's see, I'll just close this. There's the test article, ID 62. And again, here's the information. So we can change things here. And by clicking individual spots, or we can go in and edit. So why don't we go in and look? So here's the title, test. Once again, you could just change something. Really, test it. We'll just put exclamation. Let's go down and we'll see the state. Now, 1 is published, 0 is unpublished, and I think -2 is it's in the trash. So I'm just going to, I'm going to leave that published. The category ID that it's assigned to, there's a table that has a list of categories, so it's in 2. You could actually change the category. I don't recommend, I mean, there's no need to be doing this, but I just want to show you the connections and what you want to do, where you might be working. Here's modified by, we're going to see that later on. That's the username, 785. And I want to see if there's featured. Yeah, featured. It's set to 1. I'm going to say 0. Now, if I go save, or I go, we go back and look at that article. See, right now it's featured. The title is just simply test. And I think I didn't change any. Oh, I left it published. If I filter this again, now look, it's no longer featured. And the title is test, really test it. Which, again, why would you do this with, well, let's suppose that we wanted to change multiple articles all at once because Vancouver that had the word Vancouver in them. Or let's suppose also someone has asked you to help you with a site. And you say, oh, would you help me with the site? And yes, you log in, you find out they have 10,000 articles, and you're looking on the home page, and they've named the articles so differently, and it's confusing. Like, how do I find? Oh no, I just closed that. How do I find this article? What did I do? Okay. How do I find this article that has the Vancouver in it? Now it's not showing because let's just see here. Let me just feature this again. It's easier to find it. this article that has this article, where do I find it? Because they have so many articles, it's hard to find and filter. You can't, it's hard to see. They've turned off showing the title. They don't have the titles. Like, what? I don't know how to find this. Well, let's do this. Let's find a somewhat obscure word, Vancouver. Let's go into the database, and we're going to go to the table here. Up here, we're going to go to search. And we're going to search for the word Vancouver. And this is, we get some options here, like, and let's put that there in the intro text. Now we can go down here, go. And look, the results are, it found it in this row here. So you could find an article with Vancouver in it out of 10,000 articles, and now you know, oh, look, oh, it's article ID 62. Oh, and there's what the title is. Now I can see it. That's all you need to do. You would go back here, and you could even, here's a little trick, ID colon 62, and it brings up, there's the article, ID 62, and you found it. Or once you know the title, you could filter for that. And so it starts to let you look at a lot of things. Another thing that you could do is this. Let's just look for a word that is search, that is going to be in a lot more common. Let's look for articles that have the word and in them. Okay, so in the intro text, we're looking for articles that have the word and. So of course, there's going to be a lot. And it brings back pretty much all of them. But of course, if you had articles that had the word cat in them, there was 10 out of 10,000, it would give you a list and narrow it down. So it's really nice to be able to search that way.
Sorry, Tim, sorry to interrupt you, but you can do this within the Joomla admin.
Yes, with
and it's 10 times faster than what you've just done.
Yes. Well, and that's probably just because of the because you can do that in a search, right?
Yeah.
You offhand, I don't know.
Look in the tooltip.
Uh-huh.
Use the word contents, Vancouver.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good point. Okay. Yeah, and it shows up there.
And the advantage, Tim, sorry to touch you again, but the advantage is that's going to search in the intro text and the full text, not just the intro text field.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
we spend a lot of time doing this stuff, creating it, and going directly into the database is really dangerous.
Yeah. Well, yes. And now the reason that I'm showing you that is because doing it this way is just to show the relationship between the articles and what's in there, because eventually we're going to get up to the point where, here, so I'm going to break something on purpose here. Hopefully it will break. Let's go to the Vancouver article. Let's go back. I'm going to go to the user table, and we're going to browse. Okay. Now, I just want to double check this article here. The author is, hold on for a sec, publishing. The author is Tim. Okay, created by Tim. I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to delete that user, which is the same as deleting it in Joomla. But now, when I go refresh, we just see created by 790. There is no name there. And you may come across on a site you're working on, at the top it says cannot find user ID 790 when you open it or try to do something. Let's try it here. It's not happening here. But now we've got create it by 790 because the person that wrote this article, their account has been deleted. Maybe they removed it. And you might be thinking like, oh my goodness, how do I switch that? Well, if they just have one article, you could go and you could search by you can go into the let's just go into content here. I'm using down the side here. We can search for user ID. Sorry, this is not, I want to, content. We can create it by equals 790. You can go and you can say, oh, that's an article created by 790. You can see a whole list. And what we're going to get to later on is I'll show you how you can do find and replace to look for all the articles, and you can fix that with the proper user. Again, in this case, we would go back to the users, and we would see that the remaining user is 785. So we just kind of go in here and we say, okay, 790 is gone, but we'll make that 785. And because there's one that shows in the results, we can just do that list and fixed. And if we were to go back in, we would see that that is fixed. So that's a common error on Joomla sites saying, oh, cannot find user such and such. Well, you can look for the articles that they have and actually go in and manually change them, where you could probably filter for them using that search method, but it doesn't let you go in and change them. So just to see the relationship between those. There's also created by and look modified by 785. 785 is the last one that changed it. And I think those are the two.
Hey, Tim, there's
yes.
Paul has put in some talking points he'd like you to cover.
Oh, yeah, sure. How do I get chat back up on here? Okay.
Okay, resetting a password
Yeah,
when you're
here.
dropping leftover files.
Yeah, okay.
Fixing a broken site when there's an error in a particular ID. I know I've taken over a site with like 1,000 articles, and then they're like, oh, this person doesn't work for us anymore, take them out. And then there's like all these errors. So I would go in and like find when I'd open it that I had to select a new user, but it would have been easier to go in the database and search for all of them and replace them all instead of doing.
Now, as far as resetting the database, let me just show you that. And yeah, there are things, and now I've got chat up here. Yeah, to Brian's point, yeah, there are some things. It is very dangerous because there's some things when you save an article, there's other things that get stored in other tables and other things happening. So, of course, this is not something to just like, oh, I'll stop using Joomla. I'll just do this directly in the database. You don't want to do that. But this, my real purpose is just to show the basic connections, so that if ever you do need to like, I wish I could change the create it by that user to get rid of that error. This is how you can do it. Now the password reset, that's really cool. I will show you this. Let's go to another example here. Users. Okay, gonna go up to here. Filter for users. And now I'm going to go browse. I only have one user. I'm going to do this. I'm going to double click into my password here. I'm going to take out a couple of these characters. All right. Now, when I go back to the site here, if I log out, and I go to log back in, it's going to say, no, that password doesn't match. I'm going to think, what? I don't remember how to get back in here. Here's a cool little trick. You go into the database, find your username, go to edit, and you can go down to the password. If I change the encryption on this password just to MD5, that's the one you have to remember here. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can just change my password to whatever. Now, that's not secure, of course, but I'm going to go right in and log in and fix it. I click go, I go up here and I log in with the username, but I type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I log in. Oh, great. I'm back in. Oh, but my password's terrible. I go to users, manage, administrator, and now I'm going to go right away and I'm going to put in a better password.
Now,
In fact,
where do you set the security in this on this screen?
Oh no, when I save the password, it will automatically, it
Take it
won't be
out.
MD.
Okay.
Yeah, because watch, I'm going to put that password in there and I'm going to go save and we're going to go, we go back to the database here. And I think this one starts where we saved this. It did get encoded a bit, but it ends in 07 AD. Now when we go and edit, the ends in QRNM. So it did encode it. And again, just another example of just things that you can go in and do. And that's right. Yeah. Yeah. MD5 encrypts it. It does, but MD5 isn't really a great encryption. I think it's I because if it's guessable. I think if I understand right, you can take an MD5 encrypted password and you can decode it somehow with tools. Time zooming along here. Let me just show you some other goofy fun thing you might like to do. And again, my whole purpose is, oh, and I want to get into the AI stuff. Let's just do here. Go here. Let's go to menu. And we will, here's the menu table. Here's where all the menu items are. Let's see all here. And let's just search for the word search. Now, look, here's the menu link, Smart Search. And it's linked to the, this is the link to the COM Finder component. And that's the alias for it. And where is the SEF alias of the menu item? Oh, and here's, oh, I want to change the name. I want to change the name of that. I think it's this here, Smart Search Index. If I go into here, what did I do there? Oh, come on. I'm going to look for stuff. Again, if I break this, I can just go in and change it. We go in the back end of the site, go to components.
No, I thought you were in menu.
I didn't change the proper thing. Somewhere I should be able to change that. Look for stuff. I probably broke that. That's all right. Smart. I might be in the wrong place. Computer path and name. Title. I don't know. I don't want to run out of time just to show you one thing here. I'm going to use some AI here. Let's suppose that I want to. I'm doing something that can't be done in the database. Okay. Oh, that's because that's a language file. You're right, Brian. Thank you. AI. Let's suppose that we want to search the whole database to find and to replace anywhere that the word Vancouver appears. But we want to change the letter, change the spelling of it. And so what we could do is this. You can use an SQL command, and I'll show you how to do that. Here we've got, I'm using Gemini. I'm going to say, I need an SQL command to find everywhere that the word Vancouver appears in the, all right, now we're going to give it some information. 6_content table. 6_content. That's the name of the table here. 6_content table in the database. And then we're going to give it the name. And we know that the name, I have it copied here. I might not even need the database name. I probably don't need the database name. I need an SQL command to find everywhere that the word Vancouver appears in the 6_content table, in the 6_content table. I want to change the, I want to change Vancouver to Vancouver. And so I ask, and it says, hey, update 6_content anywhere where Vancouver, replace it with that, or content Vancouver with Vancouver anywhere that this is. I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to go to this big search. I could do it for the little table here, but I'll do it for the whole database. I'm going to go query. I'm going to paste. Oh, why does that look? Oh, I'm going to do it in SQL. I'm going to paste what that gave me. Oh my goodness, I got an error here. Update 6. I'll show you what happened. It doesn't like that. I'm going to say to Gemini, got this error. Like all my live streams, it's not going well now. Use
is there little brackets around 6_content?
Yeah, it could be that. Let's see if ChatGPT does something different for me. Hold on. Here we go.
Bye, Laura.
That's tried in ChatGPT. Maybe he's going to do something better for me here. We'll see. Probably the same. Check. Oh, that's the test update. We'll try it. Doesn't something update 6_content? All right. That's an example of how it could work, but it doesn't. I'll stop there. Yeah, this usually goes pretty well for me. Yeah, you could get in real trouble with this. Oh, I did want to show you this. Regular Labs has a program called has an extension called DB Replacer. And the reason I'm showing you this is because it might help you. I really just wanted to, one of my main goals today was to show a relationship between the stuff that we're doing in Joomla and the table. But if we go to system, install extensions, I already have that up here. DB Replacer, it's free. The pro version lets you highlight things a bit differently. If we go to components, DB Replacer, and now up here, here's the tables. Now we know what table you're looking for, content. So we'll go down to content. So we're just going to say in the content table, look for Vancouver, capital in Vancouver, and replace it with VAN Vancouver with the, now we search and look, it says it's search, the search string is found in 44 rows. Oh my goodness, that's not possible. Oh, I forgot to select the column. We're going to look in intro text and full text. Now we'll search. It's found in one row. And look, oh, Vancouver. And here's where all the places that would be replaced if I want to do that. Again, you know how to back up the database in case you mess this up. But if we say, yeah, I'm good with that, go ahead and replace. And that will, yeah, it says, yeah, you're going to break stuff, maybe. Replace it. We go back to the content, the articles, test it, and now you'll see everywhere Vancouver is now lowercase and has the hyphen.
Nice. I like that way.
So yeah, so that's a pretty good method. But in order to do that, you need to kind of know where things are. And yeah, it's what I've shown you is can be reckless. Doesn't necessarily always work. I usually the AI is really good at coming up with stuff, but I don't know what was up there. And but really, my big goal was just yeah, it is just to let you see that the connection between things, and that if you're stuck, like with the password reset, another. Oh,
I say, Tim, I know you've helped me where during migrations, there was a component that was installed, and when you tried to migrate, it broke everything. So you just showed me where to find it so I could disable it so that I could get at least the back into the site to uninstall it.
Yes, and that's what I wanted to. Oh, great! And Brian's put the update there.
Okay.
For that SQL the word. Yes, just to show you, if we go to system, and then I will stop. I promise. System manage. Here's the extensions. If you go to your website and you're getting the 500 error, and you go into global config, you go into configuration.php, you turn on error reporting, and you see, oh, there's a plugin, there's an error in one of the plugins that's being caused, and you can't get into the back end of your site or the front, and you think, oh, I wish I could turn off that plugin. Just go into your database. The table you're looking for is extensions. And here's a list of all of your extensions. And so basically, let's suppose, we'll just pretend it wouldn't be this because it's core. But let's say there was something in the COM banners, and that was where the error was. Like, oh, I wish I could just turn that off. Well, we follow over COM banners to enabled, and we say 0. And now that component is disabled. Now, some components have a number, some extensions have a number of things. So you might, here, let's just view all the rows here. Let's say I don't want to pick on anyone. What have I got installed on this site here? Let's say JCE. Let's say there's a problem with JCE, another one that's unlikely. If we search for JCE, oh, let's see, number of rows, extensions. Where have we got here? Oh my goodness, it's not showing up. Anyways, you could filter and find, and you can disable. If we go into components, system, manage extensions, and we search for banner right now, you'll see banners is disabled. Oh, banner would be another example because look, there's a bunch of them there. I wonder if that one works. Yeah. So if you're having problems with banners, you might want to disable COM, mod, and the web services thing. But again, you got to know what you're doing. If you turn off too much, you can always turn it back on here. But if banners was the problem, you'd be able to log in again. All right, I gotta stop sharing because I'll go forever. Yeah, so what I did was reckless. I probably showed you, yeah, and you know, the reminder there, I think it was Brian that made it, is that, yeah, you get changing things back here. Sometimes there's other tables that need to be changed, and assets can get all out of whack and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, so it's good. It's good. A healthy level of fear is good, but sometimes you just want to go in there and you need to do some things, and that can help you. So
And sometimes you have no choice.
yeah,
That's
and
the only way.
Robin said,
Yeah, the only way to get back into the site, and you did something like a migration, and you have a component that just doesn't work, and that new one,
yeah,
and your site is down. You have no choice. So to be too afraid of the database is a bad thing.
yeah,
So that's when
yeah.
if you know a few tricks, don't be afraid because you're in a bad situation already. You might as well try to get.
The best things there about phpMyAdmin is that you can export and back up the table, and that's really key. And look, if you're stuck with your site, you just drop me an email or whatever, and we'll take a look at it and see. So
Done that many times. Thank you.
yeah, well, and as usually happens when I do live streams on my channel, thank you everybody who helped and made suggestions. I probably am missing some of the. Did I miss any of the comments here?
I think Dorothy made or made a good point, or maybe it was Rhonda. Um,
Oh,
about
about getting past multi-factor
Yeah,
authentication.
turning that off. So
Yeah,
if your client has it on their phone or something, you can't get a hold of them and you need to get in, you can turn that
yeah,
off in the database.
yeah. It can be
That could
that.
be
That's one of the. I found that as one of the trickier ones to try to figure out which plugin to turn off and stuff. But yeah, it is a way.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
remember what it is right now, but I've done it.
yeah, yeah. You go in. Well, you start to search.
Figure it out.
I think you search for authentication, but then there's a certain kind you turn off. But there is one you can turn off, and nobody will ever get in your site, right? But that's okay. You've got the database, and um, that is. I have, I have let myself into people's sites where I've gone in. They give me access to their database, but if you go to their user, the table where their user information is, you copy the encoded password, save it, do the MD5, change it, let yourself in, do what you need to, go back in the database, and copy and paste back the code you took out, and their password doesn't change, and you've logged in as them. So,
Mm,
all right, I'm gonna stop.
beautiful. We're right on time. We're only a minute over. I appreciate everyone jumping on today, and thank you, Tim, for a very exciting presentation. Big reminder, JJ USA is next month. We cannot wait to see everyone in either virtually or online. If you guys have any questions at all, reach out to any one of our volunteers. JJ USA has all the information, it has all the speakers, it has the whole schedule. It has ways to buy tickets. And as Laura said, if you have any financial difficulty, there are sponsors that could sponsor you. So please reach out to any one of us and we'll put you in touch with Laura. Um, any questions, anyone? All right. Well, that wraps it up. I'm going to put the recording on the YouTube channel and I will share it out on the Facebook page. For those of you who had questions in the beginning when we went around and talked about what we were doing, please use the Facebook page, kind of throw questions out there. We have a pretty good response and a pretty diverse group of users that are willing to help. And as we're closing out, I'm going to let Tim close us out as I like him to do if he is here. And any, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, again. As usual, I hope that wherever you are, be it morning, evening, afternoon, or tomorrow, that you are well. Until the next time, enjoy your Joomla sites and God bless.
All right, everyone, have a great week.